This is James Lutton for Round 8 Boxing, joined by Mr. Sonny Edwards. Sonny, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm all good. Good to see you again.
Andrew, mate, long time no see. Listen, your brother Charlie fighting this weekend. Big fight for him. Obviously, a lot more experience over Andrew Cain. Why this fight? Why is this the right fight for Charlie now at this stage of his career?
Look, domestic fights are always bigger for your career. They give you more in the future. Andrew has been a great fighter since young. We shared the ring as amateurs in a national final. He was a multi-time national champion, England representative. He turned pro early. He had a bit of a stop and start beginning, and then he's caught wind and caught momentum. Look, he's had one setback against a good fighter in Baluta, but he's been built up. And yeah, Frank Warren, Nick Ballcard, the fight offer came in. I'd never actually seen it before, but my brother was looking at 4 different fight offers. Andrew Cain being one of them, defending his European title being another, world title, final eliminator, and a world title shot. He was looking at 4 fights all on the same weekend, and he chose Andrew. Obviously, there was a few pulls and a few push factors from different sides. A little bit more money somewhere else, but a lot harder fight and tax to pay internationally. So weighing it up, the Andrew Cain fight was the clear best fight. Biggest reward, and okay, it's a risky fight, but in relation to some of the other fights, less risk. So it's buzzing to see Charlie back. I am. I went through a lifetime of being Charlie Edwards' little brother to people not even realising I had a brother, and now they're remembering again. And it's honestly great to see any success, any enjoyment from boxing I've ever had for myself. I'd love that for my brother. So if he can go win a British Commonwealth, neither of us have won the Commonwealth yet. To add that to our collection of what Edwards' brothers have achieved in boxing, then albeit he knows that he's going to have a hard fight to go through to get there, but that's what he's done all this work for. And you can see how my brother's career's gone. He's never shied away from a hard fight.
Absolutely. Talk about yourself, Sonny. Obviously, you stepped away from the ring, hung your gloves up into your management. When we spoke a few years ago, you said coaching, that's what's for me. I think that's still in your future. Why management now, though?
Because with management I get to have an effect and impact on multiple fighters' careers all at the same time. I then get to, spend 3 weeks with my brother, go spend a week in Belfast with Giorgio, go spend 2 weeks in Leeds with Ish, go spend a week in Manchester with Lyndon, and I can go now and use my free time to add and try to add. Not trying to take over, I never want to go, but just anything I can see, discuss with the coaches, and because coaching is a full-time commitment, one that is more, in my opinion, than a boxer's commitment. Trust me, they spend more time in the gym than we do, especially if they're doing it properly and they have a stable. So I want that at some point of my life, but when I want that is when I'm settled, probably abroad, probably with my own setup, my own gym, and then maybe go into full-time coaching there, because I do genuinely think that's probably what I will go down in from boxing. I think I'll be more known as the other side of things rather than a boxer, but I've always felt that for a long time and I always thought it was coaching. Now management's kind of given me I'm doing the corners in the sense of putting a spit bucket in and giving some advice throughout the fight, being around for fight week, involved in the matching of their fight, in the direction their journey's going. I'm really involved top to bottom, and I'm just trying to add the most value that I, Sonny Edwards, can, rather than try and take as much, credit or percentages, or I'm just trying to know what I can commit to. I've committed to a lot of commentary and media work, so shout out to Matchroom. We've been working good together now for a few years, and they've helped to bridge the gap between competing to not competing as seamless as I would hope it to be. But then with all the fighters that I work with as well, I'll be at all the shows because of the commentary, but then I'll also be at the shows for the managing, the cornering of the fighters, and just trying to balance and work it out and see which fighters that I gravitate to, which gravitate towards me, and try to connect good fighters with good opportunities to hopefully change their life. And I understand the start to the end of boxing, kind of now, to a certain degree, and not only just from my perspective, from the perspective of my brother, perspective of Lyndon, perspective of all my close friends through boxing, and trust me, there's loads of them that have always opened up to me, knowing it will stay confidential between me and them, and I'll give them my best advice and read through contracts. And over 10 years in the pros, another 10 years in the amateurs before that, I spent my whole life boxing. There's not another industry that I'm going to pop up into and try and get busy really in. I've got a few things I'm working on, maybe outside of boxing, but as more of like adding to what I do here. I feel like I've leveraged myself into as not the or one of the voices of boxing. There's a lot of, but definitely I've got my place in the sport, especially in British boxing, maybe world boxing, depending on who you ask, and I'm grateful for that, to be honest.
For you, how hard was it to retire from fighting?
Easy. I've been thinking about it for a while. The moment I couldn't get up the same way I could get up for an international title or British title fight than I was for world title fights, I knew the writing was on the wall. My body was breaking down slowly, but over the years I hadn't had a real good, clean run of body health, like fitness, for about 3 or 4 years. I'm talking hand injuries, ankle injuries, shoulder injuries, back injuries. Like, I've really been going through it, but I've probably been one of the best hiders of it. Obviously never made no attention of it, as little as possible. And look, I've been wearing ankle supports for the last 2-3 years. I don't even know if that's legal. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't be able to get in the ring. If they was ever asked to come off of me, I could not get in the ring, because by 3-4 rounds, I'd be on the floor because my ankles are snap. I haven't got the ligaments there. But it was easy, really, just spending time with my kids, maximising the other side. I think it really got to a point of when I was out of camp and plugged into the boxing circus, corners, managing, commentary, I was enjoying. I was going places, I was seeing faces, I was interacting with the fans, I was interacting with the people, seeing my friends from around the circuit. But every time it come to now getting ready for a fight, 10, 12 weeks of, I don't want to say depression because it weren't like that, but just life depression, in the sense of I'm not doing anything with now for the next 10, 12 weeks where I'm not just going to the gym, coming home, eating, and I no longer was getting that, when you walk out the door of something really good happening and you've got that life feeling of you. I get that when I'm around boxing, but it weren't when I was in camp. It was still for the events, but if I don't have it in camp, then I can't keep putting myself in events. I'm too good of a fighter to be going out like that. And even then, from how good people have seen me be, people are surprised I ever lost a fight. Because if I stayed at my prime and I stayed at my peak and I doubled down and gave myself all the percentages, I don't think I ever would have got beat, if I'm honest.
Do you think it was almost like an overwhelming anxiety to do camp towards the end?
Nah, not an overwhelming anxiety, just to balance everything. 1, I was still double down. 2, I was waiting for the Galal fight, really, because that was a big domestic Olympic medalist, world champion, we boxed as amateurs, my brother, I was always waiting for that fight, to be honest. It's probably why that was the last one. And I said before, people don't believe me, but I said, win, lose or draw, I'm out after this. I just don't enjoy it no more the same way I enjoyed it. And unfortunately, it was the process of preparing that I didn't enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? And also, my body was struggling to let me enjoy it, if all truth be told. And for the last 3-4 years, I've pretty much 80% of my training has been sparring. Well, a lot of people don't realise. I got to the point where I did very little running. I did very little bag work. I did some pads, probably 1 session a week. I did no strength and conditioning for my last few fights. It was like I was trying to do these things at parts, and I was hurting myself, and then missing out on the sparring. So I just ended up taking everything apart from the sparring. That's all I've been doing for the last 3-4 years.
Do you feel your body forced you into cutting corners?
Nah, I feel like my mindset, man. I feel like my upbringing, I feel like going from a complete relaxed environment of eating it whatever we wanted to starting boxing and it changing to now hyper fixating on the idea of food that's bad for you and hyper fixating on I can go and drink this, or it gives you every fighter an eating disorder. You're in camp, you have to be serious. You're out of camp, you be double unserious, you be extra unhealthy. And then I was always sort of riding that motivation of thinking I'm way talented enough that I don't even need to do the right things. And that was probably the struggle. And I never really managed to get my food right, but I used to get force-fed food that I was allergic to as a kid by my dad, who didn't care what I was saying. I just had to eat it. And now, as an adult, I don't want to eat anything that I remotely don't want to eat. So now I don't eat really as healthy as I should. It's a proper fucking rigmarole to actually get proper into dieting in camp, just because of the way my mind works. And then because of that talent I've always had, I liken it to a Billy Joe Saunders or a fighter like that. When you've always been so talented, you get in the ring and without really training that hard, you're still better. You get so used to that you just keep working on the things that make you better, and you kind of think, oh well, I'm good enough to not worry about all the little percentages that other people are picking up on. And a combination of everything, and not probably reaching the level of performance no more that I knew I was always capable of. I'm self-aware enough to know that, hold on, my feet used to be quicker, my reactions used to be sharper, my vision used to be better, my hands used to be quicker. All of these things condensed. Yeah, man, I don't need boxing in a boxing ring as much to just keep and go on Roy Jones myself, and I'm a big fan of Roy Jones, but people look at him now in a certain way just because of the last 5 years, 6 years, 7, 8 years for his career, however long he was dragging on for, and I'm too good for that in my opinion, and I'm too proud as well. I like to win. I do like to win.
Now, we saw recently Chris Eubank Jr. got fined by the British Board of Boxing Control £100,000 for egging Conor Benn. Do you feel that's excessive? What do you make of the actual ban itself, or the fine itself? Sorry.
So what was that?
Chris Eubank Jr.'s fine, £100,000. What do you make of that?
It's a drop in the ocean to what they're earning. They're probably not even going to pay themselves.
Do you think it was warranted, or do you feel it was too much?
Don't really care. If I'm honest, I don't really care. It's either start drawing the lines or don't draw the lines. Other people have done similar stuff and not got nothing. They done that, got 100 grand because there's millions on the table. But he probably won't have to pay it until after his fight. Probably. He might have to pay it before. There we go. And then he might be a little bit out of a pocket. I can imagine his pocket stretched further than that. But no one wants to pay 100 grand to no one. You don't want to pay it to the tax man, let alone the British board, because you slapped an egg around his face. However, that 100 grand probably added 10 mil onto the overall generation of the whole event. And if they're just on fixed, okay, that won't really matter to them. But if they're on any sort of pay-per-view points, then I think that 100 grand will be worth at least $1 million to just him.
Absolutely. Turki'S, AlAlSheikh, Dana White, Nick Khan making a little boxing league. Is it good for boxing or not?
I think so. I don't know how it's going to work. I think it's just going to be a pyramid scheme where that's right at the top. Then the world promoters that we know now, just in the layer below them. But that's what they're going to try and aim for. But will it work? Will it execute? I don't know. It's going to be hard to get loads of fighters to sign up to a league, getting told who they're fighting. I don't know how it's going to get executed, if I'm honest. I don't think they really do, because boxing is not the UFC. It's not. Because boxers are so used to it not being the UFC that we don't act like UFC fighters. We don't just go, oh, I have to fight him for this money, otherwise I'm sacked. Okay, I'll fight him. They'll go, cheers, lads, and go find another promoter that will get them more about what their boxing is different. And I see no problem with it, though. Like, I don't care if there's 1,000 promoters. There's more work, more boxing, more fighters, more fans, more tickets bought, more events in the future, and then it's just a cycle. It's when it's dead and nothing's going on, that's the problem.
Back round to your management, is there one piece of advice that you could give to all of your fighters that would work for all of them? And what would it be if it was?
When you stop enjoying, stop doing it.
And then just finally, back round to Charlie. What happened Saturday night? Charlie Edwards, Andrew Cain.
I think Charlie's more than capable of absolutely dancing rings around Andrew and walking him onto shots and giving himself the opportunity to land some clean, heavy shots. I really do. Yeah, Charlie's been looking really good recently, and everything's sort of clicking in at the right place and at the right time.
Is that the right game plan? Whether it is the game plan or not, is the right game plan to outwork him, outmove him, outdance him?
Outmaneuver him, outbox him, I think. Obviously, Swifty's his head coach, so I'm sure they'll have the proper game plan. I'm here supporting my brother. I'll be in his corner, handing the spit bucket up, but he's prepared meticulously. He doesn't cut no corners. He eats exactly how you're supposed to. He sleeps exactly how you're supposed to. Yeah, man, I'm proud of my brother, man.
Sonny Edwards, thank you as always for your time. Always a pleasure.